Alright, so this is the PSA Dagger that I've been shooting USPSA for about 4 or 5 months now. I had some handle grips on it, but today I'm going to try and do some silicon carbide on it. I got some, I don't know if that'll, some 4670 grit, JB Weld, some alcohol. I had some handle grips that were good, but the granulate was a little bit finer. I like some of the slightly rougher grip, like what's on the talons. So I'm gonna try to replicate that with this one. The stick-on grips work pretty well, but they get super gummed up in the back, as well as where my support hand goes and in the finger grooves. So I ended up losing a lot of the texture on it, and then the grip itself didn't adhere. So I'm gonna try to clean this up and mask it off and do some silicon carbide so I get a little bit more of a permanent solution. So I'm kind of going off of some other videos that I watched. I've never done this before, so it's going to be a little bit of an experiment for me. But I'm going to go ahead and strip the gun. I'm going to take out the slide stop slide release because mine's a little bit bulky. Since I need to mask off everything, I'm only going to do texture basically where the frame is already textured. Except for in the back, I'm going to cut it down a little bit lower because I don't like texture all the way up in the back strap. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing apart and cleaned up, and then I'm going to try to degrease it with some isopropyl alcohol, and then we'll set up and I'm going to mask it all off with some masking tape, try to cut it off with a hobby knife to about the areas where the texture is, and then we'll apply some JB Weld and try to grip it. Alright, so there it is. I let it sit for about 20-25 minutes and then took off the tape. So you can see the outline. It covered up just the spots where there was texture, which I'm not totally sold on. I may fill in those gaps anyway and let it go continuously around. I didn't do a great job of masking it. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if the camera will focus on it, but yeah, it's good. It's nice and rough. It's a little bit thicker, which I like, so I've got a little bit more purchase on the back of the frame. But again, I might fill in those gaps and just get it solid all the way around, so I have plenty of grip surface. But now it's got to cure for 24 hours and then I can throw it all back together. Alright, so here it is. It's all cured up. I've knocked off some of the high spots because I had a few real sharp edges that were up underneath the trigger guard, some in the back. I'm not totally sold on how I did it. I wish I would have cut off some of the parts, mainly up here where my trigger finger rides, and then filled in the gaps, which I still might do, but it's very nice. This is super grippy, and what I love the most about this, especially with this frame, since this comes up to such a high point, it adds a little bit of extra meat here, so I can get a full grip on it and still have plenty of space for my support hand. So I really like this. It's super aggressive. I've already got, you know, some red spots on my hand, but I think it's going to be perfect for when it's super hot and your hand starts sweating. So I've got a match this weekend. I'm going to try it out. I've already done a little bit of dry fire with it, and it feels really good. I don't know if you can tell on here. So the Talon grips on the Glock is sort of the texture that I like, but you can see that the granulate is a little bit smaller on there. My issue with the handle grips was how small the granulate was, and this is a little bit more coarse, and then you can kind of see just the size comparison with how aggressive the 4670 grit is on this grip. So I think that this is going to be a really nice addition. It doesn't feel like it goes anywhere in your hands. It really locks in. But I also have some other cool stuff. So I got some of this chalkless grip I'm going to try. I heard really good stuff about this. I tried a little bit of it from one of the guys at the range, and this stuff, a tiny bit, goes such a long way. This is crazy how grippy this is. So I might not even need to use this just because of how aggressive this grip is. But it should be interesting. So I'm going to try this. I might try the chalkless grip for a couple of the stages, but I probably end up saving that for if I switch back to a Glock or should I shoot something else. But I also have something interesting too. I finally got one of the Glock Metgar mags with a Springer Precision base pad and an MBX spring and follower. So in theory, this should be a 25 round mag. I'm only getting 24 rounds in it right now, but I'm going to use it as my starter mag for the match this weekend, so I'll be kind of triple testing everything. But yeah, for now, the silicon carbide job is a little bit ugly. I'll knock off some of these harsher corners and maybe fill in some of these, but I don't really care about it being pretty. This is an experimental gun for me, so I think this is going to be a super nice addition. It feels great. It took very little effort and is honestly super cheap. With the bag of the granulate and the JB Weld, maybe $22, $25 for the whole thing, and I've got enough for probably 2, maybe 3 more guns if I wanted to do it. So if anything, some of these spots that are real rough, like under the trigger guard, I can knock them down with a Dremel and just rebuild it up, or even rebuild up the back if I want to go a little bit fatter on that back strap right there. So yeah, that's a huge difference, huge fix. So if you've been messing with the stick-on grips like the handlets or the Talons, these are Talons. I've used Talons for a long time. I like them, but they just don't ever last. So I'm curious to see how long this lasts with the super aggressive granulate. And you can even go higher with this. I think it's the 30 grit or the 60 grit that some people use. And I feel like that would make your hands bleed because this is crazy sharp. So I think this is going to be a super nice addition to this frame. So we'll see how it goes this weekend, and then I'll report back because I'm right around 1,400 rounds on this gun so far. So once I get to a little bit higher, maybe 15, 16, 1,700 rounds, I'll probably end up doing another review and kind of talk about some of my thoughts, because I'd like to do some stuff too, like clean out the epoxy that I put in here and put one of the PSA aluminum mag wells on it and shoot this as a limited optics gun. So we'll see, but for now that's it. That's the silicon carbide job, and honestly I'm super happy with that. I think that worked out perfect, and that is that's going to be super nice for matches.